Hello everyone, in this video you will hear the most unpleasant infidelities in people's lives. Do not forget about the like and subscribe. Enjoy watching. Story 1 from user Invidious. At 21, I lived with my girlfriend when I first attended college. We lived with one of my best friends at the time, who was also a woman. Our college and work schedules didn't match up very well. So there was a lot of time where I had free time, and she was at work school and vice versa. She starts showing the typical signs, irritable with me for no reason. Decreased sex drive, never had money anymore. ECT. So one day I'm at home alone, cause class got canceled. It's been an especially stressful week. 2 weeks before finals, IRC our apartment was just totally trashed. And it bothered her, but no one had the time to do much about it. So I was ill surprise her and clean the place real good. So we can all just relax after finals, start doing laundry, and notice a decent amount of my SO's panties have these white stains on them. I instantly think the worst best friend comes home early too. After I had already cleaned and freaked myself out the panties, I'm visibly pretty torn up. So she asks me what's wrong. I tell her I think so, is cheating on me. Cause look at all these white stains, it looks like cum. She ruthlessly made fun of me, because at that age, I didn't realize female discharge was a regular thing. I thought that only happened when things were like wrong. I take her teasing without rebuttal. Because I was so relieved that I was wrong about the stains, I used this life lesson to ignore the rest of the signs, having convinced myself that I had convinced myself of her infidelity, and that everything else was likely just in my head too. Cue a month and some change. Later, I pretty much catch her cheating with a dude I despise when we went out to the bars together on the way home. I freak out, cause that shit sucks. She proceeds to dump me, cause she's been cheating on me for like the whole time. We were in school, kicked me out of the apartment we both lived in, tried to sucker me into helping her with rent still, because my name's still on the lease to top. If all off her and my parents had an agreement, they had just retired and bought a new car, gave me their old one. So I had 2 cars. Technically. Their old car was much nicer than my current, so I took it. They were gonna sell it. If not. So now instead, they were gonna sell my old car. She expressed interest in it. The car was still worth 14 kish, which would be a very expensive gift to just give someone my folks were well off. But far from rich, my amazing mother could see how much I absolutely adored this girl. So she said, my so could drive the car the rest of the school year. And if we were still going strong by then, she could just have it. We still had winter break and a whole semester left to go. It was 5 weeks after they had made that agreement that she dumped me after I got all my shit moved out. My dad tasked me with retrieving my old car, so I went and took it for all intents and purposes of the law. It was still very much mine. So she called the cops on me, said I broke into the apartment for the keys, threatened her, and stole her my car. I had extra keys, and literally did none of that. Didn't even go inside, just got dropped off, hopped in my old car, and took off. Actually, wait, sorry. Here's the real kicker. 2 months after that, I asked for the internet modem back. Cause she canceled the internet and I bought it in the first place. She gave me the runaround for a month. One night, we went to a bar for a mutual friend's birthday. Didn't know each other were going to be there. I walk in, see her, and decide I'm just gonna ignore her all night for my friend's sake, which goes fine for a few hours, right up until she gets white girl wasted and decided to go out to her car, get my modem, come back into the bar, and with a running start, chucked it at my head, which hits me square in the eye, nose, bloody nose. The whole bar comes to screeching halt like party scenes in movies where the record skips and everyone is just staring at me. The bartender asks if I want her to call the cops. I told her, nah, it's cool. I got what I came here for, drinks with my buddy, and I got my modem back, and then just kinda laughed it off. You know, the look on her face was priceless. Thanks for reading. If you got this far. Edit, I'm just gonna throw this here, rather than reply to everyone saying I should have called the cops instead. Her actions were about control. She acted out to get me to react. You lose when you react. Women hate being ignored more than just about anything else. If you don't believe me, go piss of your. So then ignore her text skulls for a few hours. She'll be way more ticked about being ignored than whatever you did in the first place. Besides, I call the cops, and then what, women get babied in the justice system, and I really doubt anything would have came about it. Even if it did, punishment comes and goes, and then you forget about it. But now every time she thinks of me, I guarantee this night pops into her head, and she's reminded that she doesn't mean a goddamn thing to me all over again. Story 2 from user space, Dad420. Junior year of college, 2 years into what I thought was a serious relationship. We go for a walk around campus, and eventually, she says, "I think I have feelings for male friend, ostensibly platonic." I had suspicions about Emma Fopp, but told myself that I was probably being a stupid, jealous boy. Straight people with opposite genitalia can be friends. We have a black president. This would have been during the Obama years, so I tried to shrug it off. I will say that I had taken note that I was rarely invited to hang out with her and her group of 45 friends, which included Emma Fopp, but I always had a way of rationalizing it and brushing off the vibes. I thought I might have been picking up, so as to say, this had been something I had thought was maybe a possibility, but that I actively shamed myself for thinking, tried to quash from within for months, to possibly years at this point. Exact timeline is hazy. So I say like, have you kissed him, still fairly naive? But it was worse back then, so this was where my mind goes first. She pauses. Yeah, I think on the tone in her voice here for a second. Have you had sex with him? Sad eyes, which had been aimlessly darting around the sidewalk upon which we strolled, slowly look up at meet mine with guilt. A slow nod. My heart sinks, looking back. I don't know why it bothered me more that they sleep together than that she had feelings for him. To the point of feeling like she needed to tell me. The feelings are definitely more devastating as the cheaty. But something about the bothered me on what felt like a very instinctual, animalistic level. Well, what the damn it? Am I supposed to do with that? I say. And what follows is genuinely pretty pathetic. I remember telling friends later that I was really digging for some place to justify this. For her, I wanted to find some gray area where maybe this is just a misunderstanding, and she maybe didn't know exactly what she was doing. I asked her if it had not been clear that our relationship was monogamous. I never said let's go steady, but had been seeing each other and spending most nights together for like a year and a half at this point. She even responded that no, she knew what this was. I wanted there to be some fact that could be explained to me, that would make it clear, even understandable, forgivable that space didn't exist really. But I was going through a particularly rough time with my mental health. I was extremely emotionally vulnerable, and going through a lot of financial personal BS due to clinical depression. Anxiety, was in the process of losing my college scholarships, eventually dropping out. So being in this volatile and unstable state, I basically tried really hard to make things work with this girl. We end up dating for like a year after she told me she had been cheating. Don't really have a great explanation as to why I put myself through that additional year. Obviously, things were not great with the cloud hanging over everything. She was insisting that she was no longer having sex with M. Fopp, despite the fact that she was still hanging out with him alone, in the group of friends she would see, but not invite me to come with. Again, I would rationalize this. It would just be uncomfortable given what has transpired. I'm sure that's why I'm not invited, no other reason. Surely she eventually breaks up with me, citing the need to work on herself, a realization she had apparently discussed with her therapist. I was devastated despite everything. Despite that miserable hanging Chad year when I knew I was just fooling myself, but felt so unlovable and incapable that I just stayed, because it seemed better than the alternative. Needless to say, she goes public with M. Fopp about a week later. They're living together a few months after that. I find out they never really stopped to have sex, and that he wasn't even the only dude in that group of 45. She had been to have sex. I hit a low spot for a few months, ended up finding who treats me with respect and who helped lift me out of the deepest caverns of depression. Now the ex works at a Starbucks. She and Emma Fopp are broken up and his bald spot has become unavoidable. I'm doing much better. You don't really shake the noonday demon. But I have a career and a cat and a woman who loves me. So things are good and, oh, go to hell, Mary. Story 3 from user Biomech36. A friend of mine got to our group and talked about how he was making out with a girl the night before he described her, and he was matching then SO's appearance. I asked about some absurd little detail, and he confirmed it. At that point in time, I had not introduced her to my friends, as we had only been together a few weeks. My friend asked if I wanted to punch him first. I called up girl with my buddy's phone. This was everyone having cellular phones broke up with the girl. Then I slugged him on the arm and said thank you. Next up girl and I were about at that line and we were getting hot and heavy. She said she wasn't ready. Still a virgin cool. So I backed off. She told me she loved me in French. Hung out a little while goes on, she says she's tired and is going home. We part ways for the evening. I go to a buddy's house and she's there completely enveloped in conversation with another guy. A fellow whom she had been getting closer and closer to when she saw me walk in the door. It was deer in the headlights, hesitant excuses, etc. I said it's cool because I was going to play it out a week later. We were split, a month later. She had lost her virginity to that guy. But wait, there's more. A few years later, we started talking again and eventually rekindled things in case you're curious. She was ready at this point in time, and it was pretty great. I opened up a whole new world to that girl. But I knew something was up when I was hanging out at her place. Another couple guys were there, one of whom she had spoken of quite often, and she told me it was time for me to go, because she didn't want to keep me up late since I work early in the morning. Glance at other guy, he's got the go, look in his eyes. I smile and say, okay. Next day, split up, but wait, there's more. And yes, I'm a moron. Though not effectively cheating as we were not dating. But this is a trend that has continued to follow me to this day, fast forward a few more years. Talking, touching, banging, we're at a party. I'm diffusing a situation between another couple drummer from my band, and girls start talking by the end of the night. She doesn't want shit to do with me at this point. It's just whatever, they eventually got married, have a child, super in love. It's kinda awesome, and I am still friends with both of them. My personal issues of the time never hindered anything as bandmates. Next, this girl's just a idiot within a day without provocation or communication about one event to the other person's. I found out girl had slept with a friend several months ago when he just blurted it out. Found out from another guy she spent the night with him when I was sick one night and couldn't hang out. We had a long distance thing, she was in town. I could not find the strength she have sex with another guy in an apartment full of not her friends one night after we had an argument. And while we were on the Skype after about 20 minutes, I heard a male sneeze from off camera and her eyes got wide. As damned well, it sure has been an interesting day. And then we broke up. She came to town that weekend to try and work things out. I would not budge. She slept with a guy she met that night and caught herpes. And finally, in the tales of absolute intelligence, long-term relationship, rough patch times. So gets home late, drunk horny. As so we're going at it, she calls me by a name that is nothing like mine, and which belongs to a co-worker whom she had mentioned more times than made me comfortable. I stop that's not my name. Why did you call me blank? Something about how it was my fault, somehow. Whatever, go to sleep. I wake up for work. She's in a damn coma. Figuratively go to the kitchen to eat. I see her phone on the counter unlocked, unsecured. I check it out. Text messages from blank, and she is trying to convince him to meet at a gas station that had shut down while she was making her way back to our place. After she tried going to his place, he was making excuses about, I don't want my grandparents to hear anything. Maybe later, she was desperate. I exploded. We argued for about 6 or 7 hours physically, and via text, I asked her what in her mind made her think that it was any sort of okay to talk to another person like that, while she's supposedly committed to someone reason that's just the way he likes to be talked to. Just keep lighting bombs. Bitch. Because of situations, I idiot decided I would let it go this time if she would not interact with this guy. Like she has been a few weeks later, I go to our deli and bar of choice. I was there for the deli side of things, as I had our kid with us. She shows up around 8 in street clothes, when she should have been at work, and with her dad. Alright, whatever. She doesn't see him as much, and wait, are you kidding me? Blank shows up first thing. He says to her, hey, got your text a little late, there's those familiar wide eyes. I don't shift emotions at all. Dude shakes my hand, meets her dad, etc. I hang out for about 30 more minutes as it's time to get the kiddo home and to bed. Part ways. Blank. Hey man, nice to finally meet you. Friendly. Like me. Okay. X gets home 7 hours later. Sorry, I had to take blank home. He was way too drunk, I say. Tell him to call a cab next time. I don't want you getting arrested. Driving through Cop Central hammered, or driving hammered at all for that. I was originally going to dismiss until I go to my car for work and see she is parked at the very corner edge of the yard. The first and only time, sigh. I go and look in her car in the passenger seat. I see a cell phone, keys, sunglasses, and her wallet strewn about the passenger side. Floorwell chair is slid all the way back and I lose my shit again. I told her what I found and that we need to talk when I get back. I call her out for lying. I ask what is going on here. Just all kinds of shit. She is drunk at 5 p.m. So of course I can get a straight answer. She then brings up, why does this happen? We have a great night. Then you blow up on me like this. And I can't take it. Why do I blow up? Because it looks a whole hell lot like you are to have sex with this guy. And it just so happens I'm only finding out whenever you're actually turned on enough to sleep with me. We had been having intimacy issues, new parents, and lack of compromise. I had to give up everything so she could do anything. We split up. She still will not admit to anything today. What got me is that she started a rumor that I was the one cheating on her, which I thought was just adorable. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and write comments. See you later.